Hi there, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be a lesson on how to set up your class notebook in OneNote. There are a series of videos. This simply shows you the setup. There will also be other videos about how to push the notebooks out to students so you can get them signed up for your notebook. There will be other videos about using OneNote itself, some of the tools you have, some of the things you can do in your class. So this is video number 1. Setting up your class notebook. The first thing you need to do is go into BCPS1. Once you log in, you should see the screen that's in front of me. And in order to get to Office 365 online, you do need to click on this instructional tools bit here. And you can see under instructional tools, there's then a little Microsoft Office 365 icon. You want to click on that. This is going to take you to our login page for Microsoft Online. You can search for Microsoft Online and see if you can log in that way, but this is much easier. It does the nice single sign-in feature. So I'm going to click on my name. Okay, this takes us to the BCPS sign-in. This is totally normal. It's just sort of our little way into the 365 platform. And this is going to log me into Microsoft Online. Alright, so when you get here to Office 365, you're now online. Some people would call it in the cloud. And what we want to do is set up your notebook online so that we can eventually put it onto your desktop and share it with your students on their desktop. Now, some of you I know just edit online, but it is much more functional if you open it on the desktop app. And I'll show you how that can work once we get there. So for right now, we're going to go up here to this little grid. And when we click on this, you should see that you have several options. The one that we want to look at today is class notebooks. Okay, and here are our options. Now for some of you, if you give me 1 second here, I know that I have, this is OneNote. Okay, I know that I've loaded this add-in for class notebooks, and yes, there is an option to create a class notebook. This is not working super well at the moment, so I would like you to create it online. So even though you have an option right here in your desktop version, we are going to make it online just so we can avoid some of the pitfalls between the desktop version and the online version. Okay, so here we are back online. What we want to do is we want to create a class notebook. So we click on that. This is going to be for my Science 3A class, so that's exactly what I'm going to name it. I'm actually going to add the date to it because it's occurred to me that I have them from last year. So I'm going to go ahead and put the school year in there as well, just so that I don't get confused when I'm looking at them. So once you have your name, go ahead and click Next. Okay, this screen is just telling you about the different sections that you're going to have. Okay, there are 3 sections in every notebook that you create for a class. You've got the collaboration space. I do not use the collaboration space frequently. It's set up sort of like a Google document because the teacher and the students can edit at the same time. But when I used it, I had trouble with kids deleting things. I had trouble with it updating fast enough. It doesn't do as well as a Google Doc, so I've sort of ignored this one, but I would challenge you to find a good way to use it in your classroom. The second section is the content library. This is where you publish all of your course materials. So for me, I basically make a template for students every day. I would put that into the content library so that they get my template that I can edit. They can only view it. Now what they're eventually going to end up doing is moving my template over to their notebook. Okay, it says it's a private space for each student. That means I can see every student's notebook, but they can only see their notebook and these other 2 sections. So if I pull that up in OneNote for you, okay, here's my 1B class from last year, my collaboration space, my content library. You can see I have all my units here, 1 through 5. And then I can actually see students' notebooks. So if Tanisha were to log in, she would see all of this. She would not see Angel's notebook. She would not see Malik's notebook, just her notebook. Okay, so that's what it looks like. We're going to go ahead and click next. We're not going to change that. And then if you want to share with another educator, you can actually add their name or email address, and that gives them access to edit. For example, Mrs. Adams pushed in with me last year. I could add her to my notebook, and then she'd be able to view it, see it, be a part of it, and adjust things as necessary. For this one, I'm not going to do that, so you just click next. Okay, now we need to put in the students' names. This is where some people have some issues. The key here is that you know how our students' names were put into the system. The system is going to recognize every student in Baltimore County, but we just want the ones from Windsor Mill. So when we put our names into the system, they were put in as last name, no comma, first name. For example, in my 3A class, I have a student named Isaiah Bacon. So I'm going to go ahead and put in Bacon, space, no comma, Isaiah. Obviously, the longer I type, the more specific my results get. Now, sometimes when the internet is being really slow, you'll see a little blue wheel over here turning. That means it's thinking. It might take a second for the student's name to pop up. Okay, so we're going to click on Isaiah. Next, I have Logan Burgoyne. I'm really hoping that I spelled all of these right. Okay, so there he is, Logan Burgoyne. Click on that. Okay, now I have 2 students. Next student is Jordan Brooks. Okay, you can see I'm getting this thinking wheel over here. There's nothing wrong with that. It just means there are probably a lot of Brooks. So if I get a little more specific, it should actually come up a little bit faster. Okay, now sometimes you do run into this. There are 5 Jordan Brooks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Jordan Brooks in the system. And this becomes a problem. So what you want to do is you want to make a note of this just somewhere in your notes, maybe on your seating chart. You're going to want to ask Jordan what his middle initial is. Now this is also a problem because there are 2 Jordan A. Brooks and 2 Jordan M. Brooks. So we may have to add all of these to our class notebook, and then we can remove the ones that aren't our Jordan Brooks later. So we're going to ignore him for now. I'm going to make a little note on my seating chart. I'm going to put in 1 more, and then we'll sort of move forward with the process. Okay, Gabrielle Gracie, there she is. I click on her. Actually, if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to do this so I don't have to do it later. So I've got Robert Hughes. Okay, so I had you on pause for just a second there. I've gone in and added the rest of my class. Had no other issues besides Jordan Brooks, so he's the only mark on my seating chart. I need to ask him his middle initial, and then I can figure out which one he is. It's really, really important that you type last name, space, first name. If you make a spelling mistake, it's not going to recognize it. It doesn't care about capitals and lowercase, but it does care about spelling mistakes. You can also see here and here, when these 2 students were added, there's no space in between their first name and their middle initial. That's fine as long as you spell their last name and first name right. It's still them, and it works out just fine. Alright, so now we have all of our students in there. We're on step 4 of 7. We click next. Okay, and then here's where you get to choose which student will have in each of their notebooks. So this is kind of final on your end. You will not be able to change it easily for the entire class, but you will be able to have students be able to change this. So if I pull up here, you can see I started last year. Tanisha had quizzes, handouts, class notes, homework, and then she was able to create new sections. The only one I used last year was class notes. So you can see she basically just has a running log of all of our dates in her class notes section. So for me, for right now, I'm going to get rid of everything except class notes. If you want to add a vocabulary section, you could do that. If you want to add a homework section, you could do that. This was just easier for me, and I'll go back and change it if I need to. So you would just, if you wanted to add vocabulary, in fact, let's do that just so I can show you. You click the Add More, you title it Vocabulary, and you're good to go. So you click Next. Alright, so now they're going to show you what it looks like. So here's my title. They have the collaboration space, the content library, and then I can see my students' names. So you're just double checking that all of your students are in there. That's what the teacher notebook looks like. You can look at what the student notebook looks like. So here we can see Isaiah's. He has class notes and vocabulary. This is a really new feature, which I'm just now noticing and I really love. Great job, OneNote. Okay, and then once we've checked everything, we can go ahead and click Create. Now you are going to do this for each class, or I would recommend that you do it for each class. I know some of you probably teach 4 or 5 preps of the same class. I found it helpful for each class having their own notebook. If you're not watching this video and you get pretty good at it, it does not take long, and it does give you the ability, if there's an assembly during second period, you can change what's in second period's notebook without affecting what fourth period sees, and so on and so forth. So there is a little bit of legwork on the front end here in terms of getting everything set up. Then it's all organized, and you get to do the organization. The students just get to follow what you set up. So, loving our little blue spinny wheel of death here. It's going to take just a minute. If you are doing this and you're not plugged into an Ethernet cable, you might want to try that, since it will pull up the students' names faster rather than relying on wireless. Alright, so it's going to take you to this new screen. This is totally new. If you have not downloaded the add-in yet, now would be a good time to click on that. It's going to ask you to put in administrative credentials. If it asks you to do that, you don't have them. You will need to come and see me. So please bring your computer to me when it asks you for that. And what we can do here, we have 2 options. So we can open in OneNote, or we can open in OneNote Online. We're going to go ahead and open in OneNote. Now this is going to come up for you. It's going to come up for your students. Whenever this comes up, we want to go ahead and click Launch Application. Okay, so this is now what we call the desktop version of OneNote. We're no longer online. We are now physically editing on my computer. So if I go to my Notebook tab here, these are all from last year. Here you can see it's starting to sync is Science 3A. So I have successfully created my notebook. It's going to take a little bit to load because it has a lot to tell my computer. Hey, all of this is online. Let's get it onto the desktop. And once this is here, I should much more easily be able to do all of these things at the top. So this is the Class Notebook add-in. This was not here last year. If you heard me talk about class notebooks, it was much more difficult. It is now much easier. So you've got a lot of different buttons up here, which we'll address in a different video. But that's how you create a class notebook. You can see all of my students are here. Actually, if I come over here, okay, here are all my students. I can click on Michaela's. It's going to take a minute to load, but Michaela has 2 sections. They all have 2 sections. And this is where they'll be putting all of their notes. So that's how you create a class notebook. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, go ahead and shoot me an email. My email is kdell, D-E-L-L, @bcps.org. Thanks for watching. Enjoy.